morning, everybody. Welcome. On behalf of Los Dinos Evangelos and myself and everyone else who was in the trip that went to Korea this past summer, we'd like to thank you for coming. Today we're going to go over basically the Apostolimas, our mission trip to Korea this past summer to the Orthodox Metropolis of Korea. We're going to go over basically what we did there, some background on the metropolis, because I know a lot of people don't really know about the metropolis of Korea that are in Korea. And we'd like to also give you an overview of our takeaways, basically. So what we took from our trip, things that stuck out to us, and each one of us will be talking about different aspects of the trip, things that stuck out to us that we'd like to share with you. So, without further ado, let's go over just some background on the Orthodox Metropolis of Korea. This is amazing that not metropolis, but the Orthodoxy began in Korea, was initiated in Korea from 1900. So this is already this group of Orthodox people, this community in Korea is already over 100 years old. And just to point direct your attention over here to this table, we have some nice little things to show you from the metropolis of Korea. So some CDs, some magazines, some books, and actually in this big book over here, which is really nice, you can take a look later on, lots of great pictures in there of their history. It says 100 years of Orthodoxy in Korea, 1900 to 2000. So they've already surpassed 100 years of history in Korea. So this history began with Russian Orthodox missionaries who came to Korea. And then there was a lot of turmoil with wars and with some political turmoil, and the church became stabilized around 1955, actually. So about 50 years of just trying to get this church established, a lot of hard work that went into that. 1967, the cathedral was actually constructed in Seoul, and it's a beautiful cathedral. There's a pamphlet over here where you can actually see the cathedral, more information there as well.
Do you want to pass that around?
Yes, why not? Thank you, Presbytera. If you'd like to pass this around, take a look. And that's just a reminder, if you have cell phones, please just put them on mute. From 1970s to now, the church has been thriving, growing. A lot of parishes have been established, and to date, we have 8 parishes, quite a few chapels, and actually 2 monasteries. So there's a lot of that has been established since 1970, and we
and
were
one
amazed
seminary.
just to see for ourselves, like how widespread Orthodoxy was in Korea, and just how well established it was. So, from 1992 to today, basically the spiritual needs of the people that visit Korea, and also the people in Korea, have been ministered to by the metropolis. So not only are there Korean Orthodox people in Korea, there's also Russian Orthodox people, Serbian Orthodox. There's people from Vietnam came, Thailand came. People from China came.
American servicemen that are overseas.
Yes. So there's many different peoples that came to Korea, and all of them are being ministered to by the metropolis. It's an amazing feat that they can serve all these people, even though they all speak different languages, and it's amazing. So, just to talk about the hierarchs that have been in Korea. So, Metropolitan Sotirios of blessed memory was the metropolitan up until 2008. And that's when Metropolitan Ambrosios, who's has been there for the past couple decades, because he was there before as well, helping out as the dean of the cathedral. These 2 hierarchs have done a lot of work and continue to do a lot of work for the metropolis of Korea. And without them, a lot of this more recent work would not have been accomplished. So they really have been blessed by God with all the hard work that they've put in. Just to show you some sort of geographic locations of the churches, right? There's also like chapels and monasteries as well, but you can see that the churches are more favored to the north. And from what I read, the Metropolis website has a good info page that talks about their history. It's really informative, goes over a lot of the early stuff from before 1955 that I didn't talk about. But you can see actually that a lot of the churches are established in the north of South Korea. So this down here is South Korea, North Korea is just above. Here's the border of North and South Korea. And a lot of the churches were actually established more north because they didn't want, there were a lot of missionaries going to North Korea that weren't necessarily part of the Orthodox group in the South Korea. And they wanted to just sort of set a borders, so that missionaries wouldn't impede into the regions where the true Orthodox church was established already. And down in the south, there are also a couple of churches, and this actually makes it difficult if you want to, let's say, see the mission of the Theotokos Church in Jeonju, where we were actually helping with your iconography project. It's a little difficult if you want to take a pilgrimage down there because it takes quite a few hours to reach that from, say, the northern regions, like in Seoul. So when His Eminence is coming from Seoul to Jeonju, it took us, I think, 3 hours. It takes quite a
It's
while.
not just driving, it's public transportation. So you have to take trains, you have to get tickets, you have to wait in line, that kind of thing. So it's not a 3-hour like bus trip. It's the travel.
It took quite a while. So it was good to see that though firsthand. And they have also 2 monasteries established in the north as well, which is a great blessing to have monasteries praying for your people. Evangela, would you like to talk about the ministries that have been in the Metropolis of Korea?
Yeah, so especially in Seoul, they have a lot of artifacts they're trying to restore. So like they have like a whole museum full of artifacts, not just like, because like the Greek army during the Korean War, they went there and they left a lot of stuff behind, which is a great, like there's like a silver chalice and a lot of other artifacts. And on top of this, they also have like a lot of these ancient artifacts, like some statues, some portraits, that stuff. And they also have like they also want to have a big library too. So part of their, like near the church, there's like a piece of land, and this Metropolis said it was about $3 million. Eventually, they want to buy that land and create a big library. Like right now, all the books they have for the library, it's all in the basement in the church. And part of the problem with that is that there's a lot of humidity issues. So, like for me, I had to go downstairs every once an hour just to change the waters for the dehumidifier. Otherwise, it would get a mold. It might get mold in there, and then it would ruin all the books. So this is one of the projects that we're doing. Like right now, this one we're restoring a picture of like the Virgin Mary with baby Jesus. And as you can see, like it became like really dark and like terrible to like a beautiful icon right there. And here's another example. And here are some of the relics that came from like the Greek army. Like most of these are from the Greek army, but there are some miscellaneous items too.
I think if you click, these might play. These should be videos. Just click once. Okay.
Survive for this.
So is that left over from when the Greeks were fighting in the Korean War, or is that just from the church?
Most of it from that. They actually have, it stopped playing now, but they actually had a banner from like when we have Easter. They have their banner that goes around with the resurrection. I think that was left behind because they actually used that in the army. They had that as a banner, I think, if I remember correctly. If you'd like, I can take this one if I know.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a really cool piece of history that His Eminence showed us. It's a box that was completely black at first when they found it. They had all these old boxes of relics, and this old little box, they didn't know what it was, and basically they started to restore it, and they found this gold cross on top and hinges, and more importantly, when they opened it, they saw that it was for Holy Chrism, for baptism. And this has great historical significance because it was used in many baptisms in the early days when the churches weren't as well established and the wars were going on. So this served many, many people, and I wish I had the part of the video where they opened it up, because you see a little, like a stylo, like a little pen.
Like a little
Not a
brush.
pen, like a
Brush.
little paintbrush.
Little
Thank you.
brush.
Thinking of the French word.
It's
The
a
paintbrush.
baptismal kit, yeah.
Yes, and they have the Holy Chrism, and it was really cool to see that they have that piece of history. And just to take you, direct your attention to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, there's also a QR code. We can go back to it later if you'd like. This actually goes to their website where they have a Byzantine exhibition. So back in 2019, I think they were getting ready to have an exhibition of all these sculptures, these Greek sculptures. And when COVID hit, they couldn't have it in person, so they actually made a virtual exhibition online, which is really, really cool. You can see all the different early tries, early attempts at making the body, basically. So you know those famous Greek sculptures that are really life-looking, really realistic. His Eminence showed us like that early on. Those first attempts didn't look too good, and then gradually, as time went on, the sculptures were perfected, basically, near perfected. So it was really interesting to see all that history. They have a lot of really cool sculptural artifacts from the Byzantine times there in the basement of the Metropolis.
And ancient Greek too.
Yes.
Ancient Greek.
Yes.
And one of the issues they're having is, again, they can't control the humidity level in the basement. So they're trying their best to maintain these artifacts, but the difficulty is now if they're in a basement somewhere and the humidity is a real problem. And these artifacts aren't new, they're pretty old, so.
Yeah, so when we went to Korea, originally one of our missions was also to help with the youth camps. And like they have it during like the winter times too. But the problem was we didn't have it this year, the year we went, because people got COVID, so they couldn't run properly. So instead we did other other items, such as like later on we'll show you some of the iconography we were doing in the Church of Jeonju.
This is from 2018, their camp then.
And what is the age range of the children at these camps?
Age range, I think, was like Goya age. And like Joy Hope to Goya age.
Joy Hope to Goya.
Like 8 to 18. That's Father Jeremiah. This is in, I forget where this is in this, but this is the Church of St. Boris. And they have that church basically right on the same site as they took an elderly home. Like they bought it and repurposed it for their summer and I guess the winter camps there. It's a really cool place. Really a big blessing that they can accommodate all these children from different places, mind you, as well. So some of these kids are from Egypt, some of them are from Russia, a lot of Korean children as well. Really, really cool. They try to teach them English and also teach them the faith at the same time.
And how long is the camp?
It's typically 1 week.
Yeah, so it's an overnight camp.
Oh yeah, 1 week at the camp, yeah. It's really cool.
As mentioned earlier, there's like the library right now. Like they got a lot of like really old books there, but as again like they have a lot of humidity issues there. So eventually they do want to move it into like a better place where the books can stay preserved and maybe later on restore the books.
Their goal with this library is to make it like a resource database, because there's a lot of information there. It's not just church related. It's basically a collection of knowledge, and they want to maintain it so that that knowledge is going to be put in use by the community. So that's one of their long-term plans as well.
So this is the basement where it's not climate controlled?
Yes, basement of the Metropolis in Seoul. So, Dina, you want to talk about the mission trip?
So, Simmons reached out to us because the International Boy Scout Jamboree was being held in South Korea this year. It's held every 4 years. The last one was in West Virginia, right, Mike? Yes. There you go. And the Orthodox, the Patriarchate, right? The Patriarchate has a organization called Desmos, which is like the Orthodox Scout organization. So they had a tent there, And we were planning on going there to help out with them, just to talk to some of the kids there, about Orthodoxy, because with all our many towns, we also speak English, which is a big deal. So, or we're gonna go to the east. All right. Anyway, so this was the church we were staying at. This is the Metropolis in Jeonju. This was all done while we were there, as long as the platitera and paint on the sides. So they had, what, 18, 20 people in their team?
I think they had a 40-person.
So they had like a 40-person team. Out of that whole 40-person team that was there for three or 4 weeks,
Yeah.
only about 5 or 6 people were actually being paid. And they were there the entire time. The Metropolis rented a motel, so people would wake up at 7, they would get there about 8, they had breakfast, and they'd work all day, they get home, they get back to the motel about 9, 10 o'clock, and then they started all over again. They did it for a while. So, the church itself, so Jeonju itself is kind of a newer city. It used to be all mountains, but they demolished, I guess the word, demolished the mountains, and it's all granite. So they leveled it, and it's all high rises now. So it looks like a developing city, but it's really very, very new. And in the middle of that city, you see, you didn't put a picture of the church. Anyway, so there's a Byzantine style church, and it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the architecture because it doesn't look new. It's a new church, but it doesn't look as new as like a skyscraper. So people will come in, and even while we were there, people will come in, they ask, what is this? And that's one of the ways to get converts.
If you'd like to see more of that footage like that, we actually have, I should have put an image here of the church, but we also have a whole YouTube video just dedicated to this iconography project, about 40 minutes long. There's subtitles as well, because some of it's in Greek, some of it in English. But they actually show, His Eminence talks about how, and someone else there, Lydia Thanasia, who is Greek and moved to Korea to help there as well. She's been there quite a while, dedicating her life to helping them. And she talks about as well how it's a miracle just how this church was built in the middle of all these high rises.
After COVID, right? It all started.
During COVID, yes.
And every bureaucratic issue, every red tape to get through, and somehow, not only did they get through, but they got money from the government for the project as well.
Yes. And basically now, yep.
You can't really, you can't really see, these are 2 original icons. And one of the ways they're able to fight the bureaucracy, well, not fight, but I guess.
Advocate for their.
Yes, advocate. Advocate's a better word, yes. So, the government was telling them that there was gonna be a lot of construction, there was a lot of demolition gonna be in the area, as long as, taking down mountains and stuff. And they said, well, is there anything that we need to know about? He goes, and they were told, yeah, we have original icons there, and they're very valuable, and if anything happens to them, you'll be responsible. They said, well, no, we won't. No, yes, you will. So they basically got like a stipend, but just in case.
Basically, the church was already there, and they wanted to do demolition around the church.
Right.
And there's risk of hurting the church then if there's demolition. And basically, they paid for most, I think, of the building of this new church. So what you see here is all new, this new building, and the iconography came after.
And it was all built within a year's time, right? A couple years
Yeah.
during COVID.
During COVID. So they said basically this is impossible. It's not going to get finished. And sure enough, it got
So how did you help with the iconography?
You'll see. In a
We are not iconographers. Basically, there was like on the outer edges of the church, there's like different colors along the wall. We helped out with that.
Basic painting.
It's in the video.
Basic painting.
Yes, the best place to go to see more about the iconography is the video link that we have for the iconography project. Because yes, we're not iconographers ourselves, but we helped carry paint. We painted the walls where they needed color.
So this is where the World Scout Jamboree was held, and we would have liked to stay more, but they were having a lot of problems. I don't know if you read the news, but there were a lot of issues with it. So basically, the Korean government got $70 million to do this, and they spent most of it on traveling to countries and trips and stuff. So they said, and they were asked about it in, I think in like their version of Congress, and they said everything was just fine. Well, they didn't have enough water, they didn't have enough food.
How many people were they
There
hosting?
was supposed to be 50,000 people. The American kids all left within a few days, and the British kids left shortly after. So we were there for about 40,000 people. So Korea is very hot, it's very humid, and it was the middle of August. It looks green now, but when you get a little bit more into where the tents are, it's all an old ocean bed.
So those are all tents with the red,
Those
what
are all
people are
tents.
seeing.
Yes.
That's where all the scouts were staying, no trees.
Yes. So it was all an old ocean bed, so it's just rocks and dust. And every day was 92 degrees, 95, 96% humidity. And there's no wind. It's just heat.
And the signs that you had to look out
There
for?
were signs that said, watch out for snakes, watch out for salamanders and bugs, but we didn't, the snakes didn't want to stay there either. And, well, His Eminence gave a sermon when we got back, and he said, people came, let's say this, he said approximately without plane tickets, just to go there was about $7,000. People came there, and they stayed throughout the dust or the humidity. They knew about the lizard warnings, they knew about snake warnings. And he said, why did they come? Because they wanted to. He says, when we go to church, do we want to go to church the way they want to go sleep with the snakes with no running water? He always had great little, you always find the best in each situation and make it applicable to us. But it was very, I've never felt heat like that. Actually, like around where that cupboard is, someone collapsed. And they didn't able to come take them.
Yeah, there were a few casualties, right?
There were, yes, there were.
17 casualties or something.
Children or adults?
Children.
Varied
It was
ages.
very, which was a shame, because it was, a shame that it was so disorganized, because it was actually like, we met a lot of really interesting people there. So this is, again,
Just click again.
so that's what it looked like, it's just dust. And they gave everyone maps, so we could walk around and not get lost, and the maps weren't anything like what,
We're all in Korean, that's why.
yeah. And they had like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but they had basically like, it looked almost like this table. It was like a pipe, one like that, with hoses sticking out of it. That was supposed to be like a watering station, but it ended up becoming like a shower situation because of how, where the planning was.
That's in the YouTube video.
So
Right.
this is this is the international link for Orthodox Christian Scouts, and there were two guys, Andoni and Tondori. They went every single day, all day long, and they were like, it was bad for us we were there for 4 hours. They were there all day long, and they gave them a fan, like their own fan, like a weekend, or something like that. So like credit to them. I mean, it really is a great organization. What they had the kids do was draw icons. They have icons. There you go. So there's Bahia with baby Jesus. They also had St. George, who's the patron saint for Scouts. And it was interesting because, you know, the Orthodox group there was not a majority, but there are a lot of kids that came from all over that some just wanted to do an icon, some came as a group, but they generally had questions, they were generally interested. You know, they asked us like, what is Orthodoxy? What, like, you know, like my family's Lutheran, what makes us different? And it was really cool to get to see different people from all over. Again, it would have been, it's a shame because we really had a good time meeting people, even though it was only for one day. But yeah, it was, so we went one day, and then Panyoti and two of the other people from our group with the Iconography Project went on Sunday to do liturgy there in English. And we wanted to go again, but they had to cancel early because typhoon season was starting. And if you're in an old ocean bed, there's no where for the water to go except everywhere. So they had to cancel it early. So when we went back to Seoul, we saw scouts everywhere. In their full regalia, and like they ran out hotel rooms. It was a shame. And it's interesting, like culturally. So the Korean people, they have a very strong sense of honor. They also have a strong sense of shame. Like if we read about like, let's say our government doing something news, we kind of like point fingers and laugh and shake our fists at them something. But they took it very personally that they were misrepresented well, and they were not represented well in the news. I mean, the issue with the Jamboree was that now if they're gonna host the World Cup or the Olympics, they're gonna reference this. But to most people, that didn't matter. What mattered to them was the Korean people had a job to do, and they didn't do a good job of it. And now, I mean, it was very, like, random people come and go, "Oh, you're American?" Yeah. And they would say, you know, we are ashamed of what our government has done.
It was a heat wave though, it was a rare.
Yeah.
It was a heat wave, but it was mismanaged. And they took that very personally.
So maybe I'll go first for our takeaways. Something that I saw especially, like sort of what Constantine mentioned with their shame and their pride in doing a good job, they also very faithful people, right? So like how Constantine mentioned about the 40 strong people that helped with the iconography project, and only about a few of them were actually being paid to be there. Everyone else was volunteers, and they just had the kindness of their heart. They wanted to come help, even if they couldn't help with iconography. They would either help cook or clean or just run people around or bus people back and forth from the hotel. Very faithful people, very hard-working people, and very talented as well. So and the best place, again, to look for this talent is in that iconography video, because a few of the Korean Orthodox Christians were like iconographers, learning iconography, very, very talented. Amazing what they could do. They have a wonderful choir there also in Seoul, in Korea, just beautiful. There's so many other things that we
And
could
they
go over.
chant in multiple languages, even if it's not native to them, right? Like in the CDs, Korean, Russian,
I'm not as sure about who chants in the CDs.
Russian,
but yes,
English, and Korean, yeah.
Basically, they have, in Seoul, they have the cathedral, and then right next door, they have a small chapel to Saint Maxime, Ius Maximus. And that's where the Slavic people hold their services. They have a Slavic priest, Father Maxime, and who's the other one?
Roman.
Yes, Father Roman. Father Roman is there. Thank you for Sabina. And he serves the Slavic people there. It's amazing how much work they do to accommodate everybody.
The Slavic service is done in the original chapel. That's in the
You have
basement.
a question?
Yeah, what percentage of the population is Christian?
It's tough because Korea, like, they said Korea is very atheist. Like, they're very material. Like, the Korean people said, like, we are materialistic, so God is not a big priority for a lot of the population. I would say about half of them are agnostic atheists, and then the rest,
So a lot of
a lot of Catholics, a lot of Protestants. So I guess about half would be spiritual, and about from that, half of good percentage is Christian. But
Let's look, 50% is too high.
How many Orthodox?
how many Orthodox?
Okay, well,
That's a good question.
That is a big question.
No one ever.
That's a very
Right,
good question.
so we-
If I had to guess, I probably wouldn't say more than a few thousand. You know, it's not. They're not many. They're not many.
But what's interesting is they take it very seriously. Like they don't, like amongst their communities, they don't go by, like obviously schoolwork is different, but they don't go by their Korean name, they go by their baptized name, even when it's a long, like, and their baptized names are pretty cool. Like, you know, we have a lot of Nicks and George, they have like, like they go by the whole name. And they, like, they have a lot of Russian saints, but a lot of Greek saints. But I think American kids have what, like 90 days off from school? Something like that, so that would be 185 days of school a year. Korean kids have like 220 days of school a year. And I think it's like 2 or 3 hours longer than ours. But we had kids that would come after school, they would go to the church, they'd play, but they'd also help out with the services.
wow.
But they're not a huge community, but they're very
focused.
focused, and
Go off of
their
that,
roots are
their
definitely
youth,
there.
they have a very strong youth group. They call it Sindismos. Every Sunday after church, they have a Sindismos meeting. So all the young adults get together with a priest or his eminence, and they talk. They talk about current affairs and questions that they might have. They have a Bible study that his eminence and Father Johann.
You can join in, it's on YouTube.
Yes,
It's
on
in
YouTube.
Korean and
They post it.
and Greek
Yes, and they post on their website afterwards an English
version.
rendition of the translation of the slides that they go over. So it's really informative. It's beautiful what they do, but they still need a lot of help elsewhere. So sort of like what Mr. Messius was talking about with like how many people are there? There aren't that many, but they do so much, and they need a lot of help. So we were glad just to go and help them for the summer. But they need help, like Evangelist mentioned, with all the water problems that they have. The church has some water damage. I think I can play this.
And the
You
churches
can
and
actually see.
monasteries were built in a period of about 25 years, 30
Very
years,
old.
all of these,
Very old.
for the most part. It's quick.
This is
Short
the
amount of time.
Metropolis itself, and you can see the water dripping down. It was raining outside. This is just one example. The cathedral itself has some water damage to the iconography. Yes,
If I may, to answer the question earlier about how many were Orthodox in South Korea, looked up, it's about 4,000 adherents, or 0.0005% of the total population.
thank you, Luigi. So that does put it into perspective. Yes, Mr. Joe.
I'm curious, what did you gentlemen come away with? What was your growth, what was your learning after having this wonderful experience, each one of you?
So for me, one, I've never been to Asia, so that was seeing it like, they do a lot of things right as a culture, orthodoxy aside. Like, public transportation is very clean.
Yeah.
Everyone's very polite. Like, we walk in the rain the one day because 2 of the 3 of us forgot rain jackets. And a guy kind of saw us looking outside like his office door, and we said, sorry, we're gone, don't worry about it. And he followed us in the rain holding an umbrella,
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
which we should have taken. But even going on the subway, like, we didn't speak Korean, but as long as you make an effort, like, they're willing to make an effort for you. So we Google Translate, you know, we went wherever we needed to go, like, they told us what we needed to get. But from the Orthodox side of it, I think we as the Greek Orthodox Church could do more for being welcoming. I think sometimes we ask, if someone's new to our church, we ask, oh, are you Greek? And that's something that I've been guilty of myself. They just say welcome.
I have a slide on that afterwards. I'd like to talk about too. Yeah.
What I found interesting was how, I mean, sure, Asia was different. It was like different, like, it's like culture shock for me because you see like a lot of like things are dirty here, but then like over there, they care about where they're surrounded. And also like when I was going there, they always like try to use like their baptized name like in church. Like here we're a lot more and also other churches too, they're more casual. They go with whatever your legal name is. But I found it amazing how they try to use their baptized name. It also made it easier to understand who is who. And like the amount of like dedication it was to continue to build the church, and like their hospitality was amazing. Like they were like while we were working, they fed us like 5 times a day with like little things like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack in between.
We were fasting there, but it was the easiest fast ever. Everything was really good. And
But they have a sense of humor, right? Did they challenge
so
your
there was
taste buds?
So the second day, so the iconography team that went there was mostly Greek.
From Greece.
What?
From Greece. Greek from Greece.
Yes. And Mr. Sozo, he was the iconographer that actually did the iconography for the cathedral.
Yeah.
So he came back with,
He's in the book if you want to see. He's got
Yes,
a picture in the
it's in
book.
the book.
What's
So,
years ago?
there were 5 or 6 Greek people. And they said, we love the Korean food. Like spicy, we don't care. Like, we love trying Korean food. So the Korean said, let's give you something weird that's Korean and see if you like it. So basically, for lunch, and we had a great breakfast. We had like the toast, peanut butter. It was great. Great breakfast. So we were like really excited. We were hungry. And it's like a cold rice soup with ice cubes, like noodles, and watermelon. And it's cold. And I heard some people say, we were told not to do that, but we did it. And we ate it. The Greek people, I mean, they ate it. And Thea Athanasia was there, oh, did you like it? And we said, yes, because we were told to say that. And she goes, I didn't, I'm gonna microwave it when I get home. But Evangelos was kind of looking at it. Like, he was like, and there were 2 Korean professors, they're doing Byzantine art with the University of Seoul, and they said, get him to try it. We were like, and he took it and he went, they're like, oh, you didn't like it? And he went,
They do have a sense of humor.
Yeah, but they that was the only culture shock we had, because they wanted the culture shock, because everything else was delicious.
Maybe on a tangent, if you haven't had a chance, there are some Korean tidbits in the back.
Yeah,
if you'd
little-
like to try.
Korean items.
Just to go back to
No,
what.
I like
what
Andres.
This is something I'd like to emphasize a little bit about their unity as well. So we talked about how there are many different cultures, how many different languages they speak there, and it's amazing how under one hierarchy they can accommodate all these people. And this is a true testament. I don't remember if you remember the title slide of the presentation, but it was basically a quote from the creed: "In one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church." Their church, their community there is a testament to our creed, because they take care of all these people. Well, let me just read the quote here, right? They take care of all these people with a single bishop, with the governing criterion being geographical rather than linguistic or nationalistic. Whereas over here in America, right, we're kind of lucky. We have a lot of space and we have a lot of people, and we can have our own communities. We can have the Greek Orthodox, the Serbian Orthodox.
But we are a canonical
Oh yes,
in the US.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
It's amazing though that in Korea, everybody's in one metropolis.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Ideally, yes. So it's just amazing how they do that. And just to give you another interesting point here, this is the back of the narthex at the St. Nicholas Cathedral in Seoul. They have an icon sort of showing this, how welcoming they are, because I'm sorry for the lighting at the top of the picture, but basically in the top is Jesus calling his disciples. In the bottom is all of us. And you can actually see that each of these people is from a different nationality, different ethnicity. They have the Korean people here, or the Asian people. They have different people as well. It's a really cool icon. I haven't seen
It's
it.
the world accepting the gospel,
Okay.
not the Korean gospel, the Greek gospel, the gospel. They, again, Korea's very, forget what the word, they're not, they're one, it's like there's one ethnic group there, but they're super welcoming with Orthodoxy. They don't, it really is Korean language only, because they're ready to accept the world. They just need help. It's a
Many
very
of-
small community, they're very, very welcoming of everyone.
Many of them went to Greece for
Yes.
10 years to study Greek and come back.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them.
Yeah, a few priests, one of the priest's brothers.
Or to study
one of the
iconography.
priest's sons.
Yeah.
It's really amazing how dedicated they are to the church. This is the end, and thank you for coming.
Can you put the
It's
QR
very
code up so if they want to go by and take a picture of it so they can see the YouTube
Yes.
video, which is
And
longer?
Before we do that, we would like to make an appeal for your donations to the Metropolis of Korea. I was told that if you go to the church website, if you have PayPal, our
St. Anna website, yeah.
website, we have a PayPal link, and you can go under the general donations option for that link, and you can choose. You can put a little
Memo.
a memo saying Orthodox Metropolis of Korea or Korea. I'm sure something.
Korean missions.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
Metropolis of Korea donation.
Okay, Metropolis of Korea. Thank you, Bill. Just to support them a little bit, and
And
as a
St.
thank you
Anna
for-
will forward the money.
Yes, yes. As a thank you to everybody, on behalf of His Eminence, actually, for coming. He gave us this stack of icons, actually from one of their monasteries. So, I'm sorry, this is from the cathedral, and it has St. Nicholas Orthodox Church in Korean at the top, printed in Greece, icon of Jesus Christ. So, as a thank you to all of you for coming, we'd like you all to have one. And yes, we'll take questions. We can go back to the QR code, so if you'd like to scan them and see for yourselves, we can do that.
And the website for the Metropolis of Korea is Orthodox Korea.
I'm sure Google search would pull that up.
OrthodoxKorea.org.
Or you heard visit orthodoxkorea.org if you'd like to learn more information. A lot of the information is actually from the website, so they have a whole lot of information there. A lot of pictures, and like I said, the big book there is a great piece of information.
The CDs are for sale.
CDs as well, yes.
They have like Agni Parthene on there, but in Korean.
Yes.
Russian.
A lot of Korean hymns. I think they have Tito, inclusive Himu in
It's
Korean, Greek.
in
Not
English.
in Greek.
English.
It might be in English.
English is on there too. It's on the CD on the cover.
Yes, but I don't know if they have it. I forget. I haven't listened to it in a while. But I can play it after the
Yeah.
presentation as well. But
Does anyone have any other questions?